I currently think that Medusa is a top 3 mid laner right now, and I really mean that. I think this hero's potential, if you play it properly, will allow you to gain a ton of MMR really quickly, and the reason why I say that is it's a very formula-based hero. And if you guys have been following my channel, you know I love formula-based heroes that you can learn and focus on learning by doing the same thing over and over again, because humans are pretty good at that. We're good at repetition. So yeah, this video is going to be following Illidan on a Medusa, and the reason why I love this game is he's literally 1-8 at some point, and he ends up winning. Guys, if this hero can win 1-8 against some of its hardest counters, you can win easy games, no problem. Like, this hero has so much potential right now. I think it's very undervalued, especially if you get good at it. I don't think people know how to deal with Medusa, especially in low MMR pubs, so pay attention to what I have to say, and yeah, like the video and subscribe to help us grow. Once again, it helps us out. I'll try to put out content daily. And now let's get into the content. Something I've recently been doing has been experimenting with random heroes in the mid lane. I've played Beastmaster mid, Axe mid, Riki mid, Sven mid, and recently, going back to the point of the Sven, I just played Sven mid lane and did a VOD analysis for the main gameleap website. It was a really cool game because I managed to win my lane by applying core fundamentals I learned from other heroes onto Sven in the mid lane. In fact, I thought we were going to lose that game. We were 10k behind at some point, but because of good item timings and decision making, I was able to win it. So please click the link down below so you can check out that video. I put a lot of effort into it. It was a ton of fun to record and also to play. So yeah, click the link down below, and I hope I see you guys there. So let's hop right into it with the laning stage. And I'm not going to be looking at the whole thing. I want this to be more of a Medusa guide and how to play from behind guide, rather than an all-inclusive kind of like in-depth thing that I usually do for something like the gameleap website. So getting into the laning stage, first things first, do not play Medusa against Meepo if you don't have to. He does end up winning this game, but this matchup is pretty awful at almost every stage of the game. So yeah, let's just take a look though. Overall, what you're trying to do in the laning stage is just get as many CS as possible, you pull a lot of aggro to avoid taking damage in bad matchups, and you use the snake to secure creeps. Getting past the laning stage, let's say it's around 7 minutes, you want to start trying to jungle as soon as possible. Guys, when he hits the 7-minute mark and you're playing any sort of flash farming mid, you should be taking jungle camps. This is key right now because of neutral items, and you'll be at a high enough level with stat-efficient items that allow you to actually jungle. And as you're going to see here, when you're playing Medusa, you really want to play on Dire so that you can drag these camps together. Radiant doesn't really have that right now, so if you have the option, or you're playing Dire, I really recommend playing Medusa. Only because these camps are super efficient, so keep this in mind. There's two things you do. 7-minute mark, you're level 6, and you have these stat-efficient items. Wraith Band, Wand, another Wraith Band, and a Gloves of Haste. If you have these, and it's minute 7, you go jungle. Don't even question that fact. If you do that, you're gonna get super farm. Jungle, wave, jungle. So if your game ever gets hard, there's two things you want to do. You want to go to the tri-camp on Dire, and this is obviously we're looking at it from Dire perspective, so once again, I recommend if you're on Dire, you try to apply this guide, but you buy your own wards. So he buys a sentry to make sure they haven't warded the area, and then he puts an obs on this hill, which allows him to farm this camp. It's extremely efficient, and it costs you 0 gold. Obviously, I'm talking about the observer ward. On top of that, once you're level 7, you want to be 2-4-1 every single game. There are technically games where I've seen Stone Gaze level 1, but it's very uncommon. This is the best build for farming, and it's an overall nice mix because you have enough points in split shot to farm, and at least 1 point in the mana shield. Now, of course, guys, this Meepo, Dox, NIP Dox, is running at the Medusa. This probably won't happen in your pubs realistically, so all you're going to want to do is sort of just push the lane, make stacks, and take jungle camps like over and over again until it's literally the 15 or 20 minute mark. I'm kind of serious about that, and it's why I love Medusa. Looking at the CS counter of this Medusa currently, you're going to notice it's extremely low. However, he's 1-7. The cool thing though is that his net worth is not abysmal. Is it good? No, it's not good. And what you want to be striving for every single game, I would say, is around 170 to 180 last hits by the 20-minute mark. I know this sounds very high, but that's assuming you have a good lane. And frankly, Medusa doesn't lose a ton of lanes. I've noticed that this hero is pretty sustainable, and the crazy part about it is you can actually first pick Medusa. I'm serious, if you're on Dire, I really think this hero is a fine first pick. Might sound crazy, but you can itemize around your matchups. Let's say you're against a PL. You can go something like Scotty Mjolnir. Let's say you're against something like an Ember Spirit and you think the chains are going to be an issue for you. Or maybe even like, I don't know, I'll give a weird example. AA, you can buy a BKB or a Manta to purge his Cold Feet. You have some options with Medusa which really allow you to be a super flexible right-click hero that sort of just farms every single game. So once you have your Manta style, it's important that you don't stop farming. This is one of those heroes where you just want to farm basically the entire game. You never really ever stop farming, including jungle camps. It's just a matter of, can I show up to fights here and there? And once you have your Manta, I recommend you do start to look to show up to fights. Before the Manta, I recommend you try to stay in the jungle and on waves as much as possible. Keep this in mind when you're playing, because if you follow this formula, you'll be in a much better spot. You'll be in a spot where you can basically get the 4K MMR strictly off that knowledge. So in this game here, we're going to see him going for a butterfly, and I just want to talk about why he actually decides to go this route. Also, what I do want to say is that you have a couple of options, which I want to talk about right now. I sort of mentioned it earlier about the PL and AA example, but I just want to give you your overall option. So first off, I always recommend you go the 2 Wraiths, the Wand, the Gloves of Haste into Treads, then into Manta. This is just reliable for every single game. After that though, you have options. You can go Scotty if you think you need to be a little bit more tanky and your team has plenty of damage, you just want to be a frontline tank, that's an option. B-Fly if you have to be more of the damage output from your team, or if they have a lot of right clickers you need to deal with. After that, there's Pike. Let's say you think for whatever reason you need to kite someone, or maybe you're against a Slark who's purchased the Fusel Blade and is running at you. And finally, you have Rapier. Yes, you can actually go Rapier right after the Manta. If you think your team is far enough ahead and can easily take Roche with no contest, you can actually just straight up buy a Rapier after the Manta, go Roche, and try to end the game. This is a viable strategy. It's not a meme, it's a viable strategy. So now we're going to look at a very small engagement. Basically, all you're looking to do once you have the Manta is generally frontline and not panic with the Stone Gaze. Stone Gaze does not have a very long cast time right now, so it's pretty easy to get off, and what you need to understand about it is that it gives you 50% movement speed, so when you cast this spell, you're almost impossible to kill because you're extremely fast and it's almost impossible to close the gap on you. In addition, it actually slows the enemy team and gives the chance to turn them into stone. And finally, I just want to talk about the spells, only because if you haven't played Medusa, you should probably know about these things. So what each of Medusa's spells do is that Split Shot, it gives you 3 extra targets. This used to be different in the past, but currently it makes you hit 3 extra targets, 4 in total, for obviously reduced damage. The Snake, now it's a little bit different than it was in the past. So it used to steal mana, now it only makes you gain mana. So that's what you have to keep in mind, it makes you gain mana. And finally we have Mana Shield, which basically is just you take less damage, but it costs you your mana. So that's why Mana and Magic Wand is the best item on Dusa, because it effectively gives you more HP than every other hero in Dota. Getting into the talents, I just want to mention that at level 10, he decides to go for the 20 evasion here. Funny enough that it's a bit funny and weird because the other talent's 20 damage, which I would generally recommend you take in the majority of games. However, Meepo is a hard counter to Medusa, so he goes for the 20 evasion in hopes to deal with the major threat, right? The other heroes don't really threaten the Medusa. Quap has a limited amount of damage, so does Slardar for the most part, at least against Medusa. So really Meepo is the only main threat. Taking evasion makes a lot of sense here, but for the most part, I recommend you take 20 damage and focus on farming. At level 15, I recommend the 40 attack speed like he has gone here, and at level 20, the Stone Gaze. At level 25, it's a bit weird. Only reason I say it's a bit weird is you kind of have to look at your items and say, well, do I have modifiers, right? Do I have a Mjolnir? Maybe I really want to apply Scotty to a lot of different heroes. If that's not the case, you should be taking 1,000 mana to be more tanky. So you kind of just have to look at your items for the level 25 talent and say, you know, does it work with my items? And there are a few that it does. It's mostly items like MKB, Mjolnir, Scotty, so just keep it in mind if you decided to buy those items for whatever reason. So getting into Medusa, let's kind of look at a small engagement here. I would love to say that this hero's team fighting is very complex, but the main thing you're going to be looking to do is stand on the front line once you have a fair amount of items, cast your Mana Snake whenever you need a little bit more mana, and on top of that, you cast Stone Gaze only when they commit. Keep that in mind, you only commit Stone Gaze when the enemy team goes in. Until then, you do not want to commit your Stone Gaze. Alright, now let's get into the first major fight of the game. Funny enough, it's 43 minutes in, but this game has been just a bunch of Underlord TPs and dodging. So yeah, when you're playing Medusa, basically all you're trying to do is put yourself in a position to split off the enemy team. You kind of want to isolate heroes, and that's sort of what we're seeing here. He's going on the Slardar, and he's sort of going to move his body to the left a little bit here, just to try to hit every single target possible. Now the Meepo ends up coming in, and obviously once he sees this major threat, he's going to commit the Stone Gaze. This is how you play Medusa. When you see your major threat, you commit your major spell. And after that, yeah, I mean, I know you guys might not have expected this, but you kind of just stand still and right-click people. It's very important that if you're trying to track someone down, you have very efficient attack moving. Understand that Medusa will get kited if you do not attack move properly, so continue attack move in between every auto whenever there's someone running away from you. Also, a great way to use Stone Gaze is exactly what we're going to see here. So the AA casts his blast, the Meepo is caught out, and he kind of walks ahead and casts his ultimate a bit early. Now the Meepo can't kill him, so why would he have to do that? It's really just to try to prevent the enemy team from saving the Meepo. Meepo ended up dying early anyway, but you can see he's zoning them out. Right, you sort of see how he zones out the Snapfire, then goes back to the Quap. He creates a bit of a wall, and that's what your hero does well. You create a wall. And now finally, to end off the game, he picks up the Mystical Rapier. This is basically your timing on Dusa. I like that he didn't rush it this game because the enemy team was playing a heavy split push game. And understand why that's a weakness of Medusa. Well, you're very immobile, so it's super hard to just TP out, right? You can't disengage properly. However, with the Underlord, there is a bit of an option there. Overall, though, they have the heroes to kite and counter Medusa, so if the enemy team kind of plays a fight God tier where they get a nice Nightmare off, then they get the Amp and the Meepo on top of him, he will die if he doesn't have the proper items. So when he goes to Scotty Manta Butterfly, he all of a sudden makes the enemy team completely useless. They can't kill him. All he has to do is walk in now, right? Once he has these 3 items, because he needs a little bit more tankiness because they have counters. And now at this point, once you have the Rapier, you're just going to start auto-attacking. You're going to see he walks in front of the Slaughter here, and it's GG. And now I would like to say that he made some insane play this game. He was 1-8, guys. All he really did was hit a lot of creeps and not be caught out of position. Just don't go too far. When you're playing Medusa, you can generally stay on your side of the map and play around your team. That's kind of what you do. Which is one more thing. I want to say that you generally want to recommend that you have catch on Medusa. In this game, they have the chains, the coil, and the pit of malice, right? So keep that in mind when you're picking Medusa. I generally recommend you try to have control so that you don't get hardcore kited. And that's going to be about all, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. I know it might not have been as action-packed as some of you might hope from my videos, but I just want to make a guide that actually will help you gain MMR if you listen to what I'm saying. I've given you basically all the information you could ever need to start carrying with this hero. The next step is just to start playing. You just gotta spam Medusa, and that's where I'm ending the video. Please, if you want to gain MMR and you're a mid lane player, spam this hero right now. I think it is unbelievably reliable, so take my word for it and actually do it. And yeah, if you do end up doing it, let me know in the gameleap Discord, or you can even DM me. I like hearing what you guys do and when you take ideas from my videos and not just watch for entertainment, because at the end of the day, I want to help you get better. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Are you tired of being hard stuck at your rank? Over at gameleap.com, we have a library of hundreds of guides authored by pro players and coaches covering literally every aspect of Dota. Whether you're looking to master a new hero or role, or just polish up your existing skills, Gameleap is the proven place for competitive gamers to hone their craft and unlock their secret potential. Hit the link on screen right now, to take advantage of our special offer for a 25% discount, guys, 25%, and start your journey today.